Hello, everyone. Welcome to Desk Doodles. I'm your host, Sapna Malhotra. What does education mean to people? What does education mean to student? What does it mean to a parent? These are some of the thoughts and ideas we are going to brainstorm through our podcast. We are going to get an interesting guest. We are going to get in people who, in their own way, have contributed to education. And we're going to figure out ways how we can redesign, redefine, and transform our education system. Without much ado, I'm going to call on our guest today. She is a wonderful educator. She's an amazing, super talented glass mosaic artist, a very dear friend of mine. Please welcome Deepika Sharma. Hi,
Hello,
Deepika.
hello. All. Hi,
Welcome to the talk.
thank you so much,
Welcome to
and I'm
Desk
glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you here. And like I was telling my viewers, I think the best will come out when the person tells her story herself. So let's hear it from you. What is Deepika Sharma's journey been like? How she joined in as an educator, what work you did, and what you're doing now. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so it's been quite an interesting and diverse journey for me. I started by being a commerce graduate. I did it from Delhi University. After, along with that, I finished my diploma in fashion designing from
Wow.
YWCA and had a short stint in the Delhi South Delhi Polytechnic also. After that, I joined an export house. I used to design quilts for
Wow.
export. These were hand quilted quilts, made with patchwork. And that was an interesting part of my life. It was my first step into the working world,
Well,
and I had some very interesting experiences then. Going forward, I got married, went to the US. Again, I did a few courses. Interestingly, I did some courses in computers, as was the norm then, in
uh-huh.
e-commerce.
Yeah.
Although I didn't end up using that ever, but it has been a learning experience for me.
Yeah, I think no learning goes waste. I mean,
No,
every learning comes handy some or the other point of time in your life, right?
absolutely. In fact, I have so many interesting anecdotes, which actually made one realizes that anything you learn in life, whether it be big or small, it definitely comes in
Absolutely.
handy at some part of your life.
True, true.
So yeah, so coming forward, yeah, so I finished that. Then I did a diploma in nursery teachers training also.
Wow.
So I got into this field of teaching. There was a time my son was very small and I was looking to be busy. So this a friend of mine who was the vice principal of India International School, she approached me, and because she'd seen me do a lot of activities, art and craft and otherwise, because I've been always been an art and craft person.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and she asked me to why not try this out. So along with doing the teachers training course, I joined that, and that is where my journey in the teaching
Education
world,
started.
education world started. And I think it really really opened my eyes, not only as a teacher, teaching and educator, but also as a parent.
Right.
And yeah, my experience has been pretty interesting. I was in the education field with pre-primary children,
Right.
and after that, I left that.
Yeah.
I had some personal reasons, and then I got into mosaic art.
Wow.
Now, as
From the fashion to education and now to mosaic, glass mosaic artistry. I mean, you're so, the spectrum is so wide, Deepika. I mean, it's
it
interesting,
is,
but
it is interestingly wide, yes.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm sorry, you were continue.
Great.
What were you
No,
saying?
no, but that's exactly what I think is the essence of what you've been doing is like you've been a learner throughout the journey, right? You've been picking up things, you've been learning, and I think that is what is so important in life to be, a learner and keep on experimenting and keep on moving forward with, whatever you're learning. That's
Yes. So now, at present, apart from being a homemaker, which is a 24/7 job by itself,
Yeah.
I am definitely, I'm into mosaics. I take workshops, I do commission pieces,
I know.
and I'm enjoying this phase definitely. And I think,
Fantastic. Fantastic.
I've realized that, I learn every time I take a workshop, I end up learning something myself, not only
Right.
teaching, but, it kind of broadens your horizon with everybody's, you meet so many interesting people.
True. True.
So yeah, this has been my journey. Quite a mix and match of stuff, but then
I
it
think
has
that's what
definitely,
is Deepika Sharma. It's a mix of so
yes,
much stuff. Yes.
it is.
Okay, so
It
if
is.
if point blank, if I were to say, what does Deepika Sharma, when she looks back as a kid, that little Deepika from school days, what is the first thing that pops to your mind? From
You know what?
school days?
You mean to say in terms of education or
No,
just?
anything. The first memory on the shelf of your, memories. When I say Deepika Sharma as a kid in school, so something, whatever anecdote or what
Yeah,
comes to your.
interestingly, I was born and brought up in Hyderabad till I was 11 years old. So the earliest memories of school, I mean, for me, what pops up is the time I spent in St. Anne's, Hyderabad, which was a very nice time actually. Uh, yeah, that's what comes to my mind. There were so many activities at that time, and it was a very pleasant experience for me. Yeah, let's put it
So
that
was
way.
Deepika Sharma one naughty brat of a kid, or was she like
No,
a
no,
first
no.
bencher, serious girl?
Actually, I've never been naughty. I've been, I have actually towed the line, but now looking back, I think I could have, gone out and been a little bit more naughty than I,
Yeah.
I was. So I guess you have much more interesting, stories to tell if you've been, if you've towed out of the line than on the
Uh,
line. Yeah,
no, but I think the best part is that when I asked you about your school life, and it just brought a smile on your face, and it's what happens. Like, I conduct these sessions for teachers also, and whenever during those sessions I tell them, I do this very often with them, that just go back into memory and think about your school days, and bring out something, and it just, everybody has this beautiful smile, and it
yeah,
just warms up their heart, because I think school life is something that is so precious to each and every one of us. And when we are in school, I think it does get tough at times, it does become hard at times, but once you step out of school, I think it always is such a cherishable moment to recollect. So let's
yeah,
I think.
yeah. Yeah, thankfully I've had a good I've had some good teachers. Of course, there are teachers who probably you don't agree
Yeah.
with, but then overall it's been a good experience. Yeah.
Yeah. So going ahead with that, today's, the big question for our talk today is, what does education mean to Deepika? What does it mean to you?
Yeah, so I would talk about education today, in today's lifestyle, the life that we are leading, the kind of families we have, the kind of place we come from. Because nowadays there are nuclear families,
Yeah.
and as in very small families, it might be a three, not even four. Now it might
Yeah.
be three people in a family,
Correct.
and the dynamics of education has changed
Yeah.
quite a bit. I feel. What I feel is that initially when even when we were small, our grandparents were with us, or there were people coming in, going out. There was a lot of learning right there. We
Mhm.
didn't realize it, but then there would be somebody giving you some input here and there.
Absolutely.
Now, in today's lifestyle, I feel that as parents also, when you are new parents, sometimes you are unaware.
Right.
You might want the best for your child, but in this whole process, in today's world, what I've realized is that you might end up just instead of exposing your child to a lot of experiences, you might just have a one view.
Right. Hmm.
I feel in today's world it's very important for children to get a very holistic, a very whole education, not only based on just getting the marks in school. It is not about getting uh, you know uh, this much percentage and you're very intelligent. I think
Right.
for me, I realized that life skills definitely definitely matters a lot, along with what you're doing in school.
True.
And as they say, there is an IQ, there is intelligent quotient, there is
Your
EQ, there
EQ,
is SQ, and now it's
absolutely, absolutely. And so,
absolutely.
so if you look into it, if you look at our present education system, the way we teach our children, so do you think that there is need for a change? There is need to tweak it a little bit, to redesign it, or are you feel that it is the best form of teaching at present?
No, I see. I definitely feel that there has to be a way to reach out to children.
Absolutely.
What I feel is that the emphasis has become so much on getting into X, Y, or Z colleges,
True.
or let me take in terms of India. Even now, whatever we may say, the the whole process of the parent, the way the parents' mind is works is that okay, engineering, you do your engineering, you do your medical, or you do your MB, and you're sorted. I
Mm,
really feel that that is now not how it is.
yeah.
There's a lot more to education. There's a lot more to do out there apart from just these fields.
Absolutely.
Okay, so yeah, so I feel apart from learning what in the school, in the classroom, from the books, I think a lot emphasis needs to be put on using your hands, using going out and interacting. It might be gardening, or it might be taking up carpentry, or whatever. All these things teaches you. It is not only about making a box out of wood. It's a lot goes into it. There's a lot of calculation happening. There's a lot of using your brain happening.
So I think,
And also,
yeah, it should be a proper mix of certain things that we
yes,
feel that should be the basic ingredients of education. So I mean, I would also like what you're saying is that there needs to be a little bit of imagination, there needs to be a little bit of exploring, little bit of experimenting. Okay, the reading and writing has to come in, it can be placed, right? But on the table there should be so much more. There should be gamification, there should be storytelling, because I think
you could not have put it better. I mean, probably, I've always looked up to you as an educator, because the way you reach out to children is
thank
something
you
I've
so much. Thank
always admired, and, strive to do that. No, I mean, you've
thank you
been
so
my
much.
colleague. I've seen you work with little children, and they literally eat out of your hand.
Uh,
So definitely, your passion definitely comes through, and it also inspires, teachers like me who, I reach out to children. I think I gel well with them. I can, and the biggest thing that is teaching has taught me is patience. How important it is for
Absolutely.
parents as well as for teachers to be patient. I think that is one thing which is really lacking.
True, true.
Uh,
And I
you know,
think the children absolutely understand that. I still remember that's one thing I used to do with children, even in the beginning years when my kids were little, and now they're like, in colleges and grown up. So I used to always ask children, okay, which teacher do you like? Okay, which one is your favorite teacher? So they would say XYZ, whichever name, and I would say, why? But she's kind. So that it stays with the child. I think the first thing that gets to a child is how does the teacher approach, how much the teacher is approachable from a child's point of view. It is so important, right?
I absolutely see. This is, if you ask me what I've taken away in all these years, what I've taken away is that, you really need to have patience, at least with smaller children, because you are introducing them in the world of learning. I
Yeah,
would not say about schooling, I would say
yeah,
about learning.
true.
So it is so important to have patience, because you know what, every child has their level, and they reach there, but it
Yeah,
might be 1 month before or 1 month after. We
absolutely.
cannot put every child at that age at one level and say that okay, she's a fast learner. This child, out of a class of 30, there might be some children who might not reach that level of an average child, but doesn't mean that they will not learn.
No, and
Give
I
them a
think
little.
every child cannot learn the same way. I think it's time that the teachers understood the fact that every day is not a learning day for all the children, and every child will not learn in the same way. And that's what, like during my sessions also, I always tell that if the child is not learning the way you're teaching, maybe you need to teach the way the child will learn, because I think we as educators also need to learn from our children. We need to get inspired from our children. And that is what is going to make, I think, our education holistic in some ways. I mean,
Absolutely. I mean, if I see my son, I mean, the teachers that he remembers are the teachers who've always been kind with him. He might not have been the best in that subject,
Yeah.
but I think he still, I mean, he would love to go to school and you be in the class and, teachers who've been kind.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks a lot. He
That
is,
speaks a lot.
he started his first job right now, but if I talk to him, he remembers the teachers who've been kind to him.
Yeah.
And
So
you know
that
what?
stands out
Probably
all the time.
and he ends up putting a little bit more of an effort in that subject.
True.
And it is so important.
Yeah.
It is so important, these things that I feel not only as a teacher, even as a parent, we need to learn this.
Yeah.
We need to learn how important it is to give that much more time to
Yeah.
your child, for him to be able to learn and not be put off that
Yeah.
okay, I don't want to do it because nahi ho raha hai mujhse.
No,
You
that's
know?
what, Deepika, when I was thinking of a name for this podcast, okay, so and this desk doodles just came up, and I was just thinking that, doodling is such a beautiful form of expression of a child's imagination, of a child's knowledge at that particular, whatever age it may be. It could start from 4 years onwards or 3 years onwards, and then go up to, 18, or even now we sometimes, when we are sitting and not doing anything and we're just doodling, right? So it's an expression, and I think all I don't know, things do change, but on a general basis, I think teachers do stop the children from doodling and scribbling, but I think our education system should have a little bit of freedom for that kind of expression, because
I absolutely agree. I
yeah,
absolutely agree. Especially with till the elementary level, till the fifth grade, I feel the focus should be more on building up their confidence also,
absolutely,
to let them sometimes do things a little out of the line,
yeah.
and be a little patient.
Let them
I
figure
guess
it
that
out.
too.
Let them,
Yes, see,
explore.
it's
Because,
difficult for
yeah, because see, if we are put in a spot as adults also, if we put on a spot on a stage one day, okay, stand up and just address the 25 people in the room. Not everybody would be comfortable, and we as teachers so easily call out a student, okay, come and stand here and just tell what the answer is. We just so easily put children in spots. So I think somewhere we need to reflect, and reflection is such an I think a very big ingredient in education, how to reflect upon things as educators or as
yes.
students also.
And I think till elementary level, I think till fifth grade, I think the children are still learning. They are still in the process of understanding that there is not only one way of doing things. Okay, their way might be the longer way, or we can't stop them and say that, nay, this is wrong.
Yeah.
It is not wrong. It's just that their way of exploring. So that gives them chance to kind of explore and say that, okay, so this is the longer way, and they will come back and they will understand what you're saying. Their
And at
interest
least
level.
they gain confidence to spread their wings. At least
Yes.
If you
Yes.
try to clip those wings right in the beginning, that's not the correct way, they never have the confidence to try it again, and you let them try and let them figure it out. So,
and it is so
let's jump into the next question that I have for you. That
okay.
I think it's a very normal thing. It's such a difficult time that we're all going through. This pandemic has, I think, pushed all of us into a corner, and we are trying to design, all the educators are trying to figure out how to reach children, and the whole education system is being challenged on that. So what do you think, what teachers are going through, or what is the most difficult part of this kind of education?
See, first of all, I really, really have to, say thank you to all the teachers who are actually going out of their way to make, to venture into a field which is absolutely not comfortable.
Absolutely.
It is very easy for us to point out and say, okay, probably this was not up to the mark or that, but, we all have to realize that it is not that easy to teach out of a screen.
Yeah.
To reach out to children and to understand, to be connected that way. So we need to be a little bit patient, and also the amount of time that the teachers are spending is not a joke. I have cousins, I have friends who are in this field, and I see them working till 12 in the night. So it's not easy.
Oh yes.
Now having said that, yes, this pandemic has, we need to be creative, okay? And it is not that we can stop the schools also. So yes, the teachers, I think, the parents need to be involved. First of all, I should say that at least for the smaller, the kids, the parents definitely need to be involved. You
Absolutely.
cannot just put the screen
Absolutely.
in front of the children and say that, okay, attend the class and you're done. No, it is not possible. It
I
is the
think
children
in
are,
general also, Deepika, I feel that
yeah,
it's an ecosystem, right? It's the student, the
yes,
parent, and the teacher together. And for
absolutely.
all three need to work in tandem to be living and flourishing, because not any can survive on its own, right? It has to
So
be in connection.
see that is the dynamic which is there even when it's not online
Without.
teaching.
Yes, of
See,
course.
that's how it should work. But now since it's online, and suppose, I mean, there are so many conversations happening regarding should the children be even taught online. See, that you cannot avoid, you can't do that, but I think we all need to get creative, and we all need to the structuring has to be done in such a way, or it can be live where, with the bigger children, probably sixth grade onwards, it can be live where the teachers are interacting with the students and doing their job. But for smaller kids, I feel,
Parent
pre-recorded recordings could be made, because see, we cannot expect children to be sitting in front of a screen and expecting them to be paying attention
And also
as it
there
is.
is another angle to it, right? Like on the other side, we always as parents, they pull up children that the screen time is so
Yes,
much and the screen time needs to be so much. And here we are in a time where we ourselves have to push them to an extended screen time,
exactly.
and after suppose of 4 hours of screen time for classes, if they ask for a screen time for their own fun, and we have to put a foot down, are we justified in doing that? Or it's such a difficult situation.
We can't see, today's world is all a virtual world. It's an internet. It's everything is media. Everything is out there. So yeah, we need to balance it depending on the age. I feel it also depends a lot on the
Very.
age that
Yeah.
we are talking about. If you're talking about kindergarten and all, I think it really needs to be limited. It really needs to be short. See, to be
Very,
connected to the
very
teacher,
short.
probably you can have a very short time where they can interact with the teacher, so that they don't forget the teacher.
Yes.
But I think the teachers need to record, so that the parents can see, because they're building up the basics, they're building up the foundation of their teaching. So I mean, the teachers could make videos, interact with I think the interaction with the parents need to be more when it's the you
Absolutely.
know
That's a
the,
very key point that you pointed out, Deepika, because the other day, I think we were in discussion with some of our colleagues. So Deepika and I have worked together at National Public School, Koramangala in Bangalore. And we've had some amazing years, teaching together.
oh,
And we,
best years of
yes,
learning as well as teaching. For me, it's been
absolutely,
both. Yeah.
absolutely. And we were still a group of us who are still connected. And the other day when we were brainstorming ideas, how we can, reach our children, especially the kindergartners. And one of the things, like you put, is also that, making your own videos and in a way trying to teach the parent to teach the child, because you can't
Yes.
expect the little ones to be in front of the screen for so long, and they'll be distracted, they'll be looking, oh ma'am, and they want that connect with their teacher as well.
You know what? I think the being at home, it can be. I know it's a lot of pressure on the parents. It's not easy. Sometimes when both the parents are working, it's not easy. But learning can happen, because that's learning can happen at any point in the day.
Right.
It can be very creative. Again, creative is not something which is. It does not seem to be easy, but simple things like helping the children, put a few ingredients in a, when you're making a dough, put 1 cup of it, take,
Yeah.
these can be simple ways of
Simple things.
teaching children. And so it doesn't always have to be
Yeah.
very straight laced with a notebook and a pen. So
Yeah.
that's creativity now actually comes in the picture when children are at home,
Yeah.
and parents need to, and this is where the connect has to be more with the parents and the teachers than the parent and the children at
No,
this
and
point.
you're right, because see, the thing is that if you look at education and the needs that we have, for classes, we need to reach the students even when we are teaching on campus, right? We need to have airtight lesson plans even then, right? And we need
Totally.
to and we need to have activities, we need to be creative even when we are planning for that, because we do want the focus and attention of children even when we are in a classroom. And of
Absolutely,
course,
yeah.
the difficulty levels have been raised because of online teaching, but I feel that for teachers who are already invested a lot in a thought process where they go to lengths to bring creativity in their daily lesson plans, I think it wouldn't be as much of a challenge, because see, the technology was always there. It's just that by choice we did not, as educators, we did not use them, but all these skills, all the technology was always there, and we just, in some cases, I feel we found easier way outs and we did not explore. And now that we've been pushed into a corner, we probably have to upgrade ourselves. In a
Yeah,
way, it's a great learning for all the educators also, that you're
abs-
trying to.
I think we absolutely agree. You see, it doesn't have to be a negative way of looking at things. See,
Absolutely.
we all need to evolve with times,
Yeah.
with what is happening around us. In fact, I feel it's been a wonderful teaching in some way. The lockdown has been
Absolutely.
a wonderful
Absolutely.
time for all of us, where our kids, I had a full house. I have my nephew here, but they all stood by me and they did things around the house which they normally wouldn't have done, which is
Well,
actually a learning. It's a life
absolutely.
skill. Tomorrow,
Absolutely.
yeah,
I mean, for me, my part of the work kind of came to a standstill because I could not go to schools and have my sessions, which were, I had so many of my sessions already booked. But then it got me thinking, and I've stepped out of my comfort zone to do this, because I thought, I have to reach out, I have to talk to people, because education is like a, teaching is my passion, and I would love to have people like you on board to, let's figure out ways on which, how we can make education more interesting and fun for
absolutely.
children. So something that you would like to share, what, maybe something that you used during your teaching career in the kindergarten, one something incident that you remember that you used and it really, made the children excited
I
about
think
it.
Yeah, I think you have to become a kid with the child. You have to be that age. Um, uh, that was one thing which I
Right.
used to look when I was in school. I could become a kid and not be bothered about. You just let your inhibitions go.
Absolutely.
So it took some time, but I learned, and I remember that the way the kids responded, and and you become so attuned to each child's needs that you know exactly what the child is capable of, or you need to push the child, or
Yeah.
you just know the children. It's
Absolutely.
only possible when you actually you need to reach out to become, you have to become one of them.
Absolutely. And the
uh,
way they'll come every morning, they'll come and tell you
yes,
everything. I mean, I think parents don't even realize how much their children
realize
come and
this.
tell their teachers.
Oh, you,
That's
you,
another.
it's so surprising, Sapna. My kids were small. I mean, the students that I was teaching, and then when I go to the airport, there are instances where I'm recognized even now, and the kids are grown up, and I need to kind of juggle my head. Okay,
Oh,
so
so
it's so wonderful to no, it's so wonderful to have
absolutely.
them come to me.
Oh,
That
yeah.
that makes me think probably I would have done something right for them to have remembered
True,
me.
true. No,
So
because definitely, because I strongly feel that one teacher by herself can at least impact 100 children.
totally,
At least,
totally.
because it's not just about the classroom that you're going in. You're in a school, you meet so many children, and you're, just a little smile, or what happened, darling, or, just a little warm care and your concern takes you a long way as an
I
educator.
I totally agree. You need to understand. See, every child has some challenges. It happens, there are children. And, if you give them that much, as I told you, patience and a little bit more awareness of a child's, there are always children in the class who have some challenges. So if you are a little aware, it really, really makes a difference. I feel it goes a long way. Yeah.
Absolutely, bang on, really. So okay, I will put one question for you. Okay, so tell me one thing. If suppose I was to put Deepika Sharma to design the present day education system, okay, and I was to tell you that you have three categories, and you can put co-curriculars, academics, and sports. Okay, so
Okay.
how much percentage would you allocate to each and every category according to you?
You know what? I might sound really weird, but I feel that each one of them is important. It is important for a holistic, for a child to be exposed to everything is so important.
Absolutely.
Just being co-curricular and making that the best, no, it doesn't work like that. Academics is definitely important. You need to. There's some structure has
Absolutely.
to be there.
No denying that. Yes.
Co-curricular will give you a chance to explore your your creative side, your where you can use your hands, you can use your creative side and do whatever. And sports, definitely, sports again is teaches you a lot about discipline, about teamwork. See, so I cannot just pinpoint one and say that okay, this has to be more and this has to be less. I really feel that schools really need to understand, I mean, and schools are doing, I would not say, they have their own limitations. So let's not try to, that's what I feel, that, as teachers, we can do a lot. Even in the system that we are in, we can do quite a bit. But it is very, very important to give importance to each and every part of it. At the same time, not push the child to be doing 100 things.
Yeah.
So I feel that, so, take one thing and then, stick to it for a little while to see whether your child is able,
and
is enjoying.
Yeah, and I also feel that they are not like, there should not be like strong lines dividing them. I think it's time that they are all merged in. Like, there is no such thing that art cannot be a medium to teach any subject, or the sport cannot be a medium to teach any topic.
These are all things which are interconnected. You cannot segregate. The problem arises when the focus goes only on one. When we realize that the child is not equipped to handle anything else. I mean, which we see a lot of times that is happening in this virtual world we are living in.
Yeah.
So I think it is very important to teach our children to be independent. To not make the road for them, but for the children to
let them also figure it out. Yes, because that also brings us to the point that we do need to incorporate ways rather than just rote learning, and just give them that freedom, like a blank canvas. I feel that education also needs to be a platform like a blank canvas, where they explore and experiment with themselves also, to know whether I write well, or do I express myself talking well. So those are the I think also major needs for making education holistic.
And I've seen people change their careers midway doing, so it's okay.
Absolutely.
It's okay to make mistakes, and and you know what, today's world has become so open that this acceptance is there. It's coming slowly. In India, it still probably takes a little bit of pushing here and there more, but it's still parents are becoming more open.
Yeah. So do you remember anything from your time at school, some fun anecdote with your child, something that happened that you would like to share with us?
Okay, you mean just generally, or
just generally.
So this is actually anecdote. This is with my son. And it brings a smile to my face. I mean, there was a teacher, if you remember, Rinku Tripathi, right? So Rinku, I mean, she was a senior. So these teachers used to have this, duties during lunchtime, where they used to go to, when the kids could not go out, they used to go to this children. So my son was in 3rd grade, and she went for the lunch, to give her duty there. And suddenly, my son goes to her that I've lost my iPod. I've lost my iPod. And that shuffle, there used to be those ones at that time.
Yeah.
She said, obviously it bothered her. What was a child doing with an iPod? And they were all hunting around. He said, okay, let us find that first, and then I'll see what I need to do. And they were hunting around, and he comes up with a small paper with a drawing of an iPod. So that is what he had lost. And she just looked at that, and the best thing I liked about it is that she laughed about it.
Yeah.
It was not something that she said. It was so innocent, and it was such a fun thing that it got. We all started laughing after that.
I think that's those innocence.
And the second incident, is what I'm talking about. We were sitting doing our work, and both, your daughter and my son were playing in a puddle in their white sports uniform.
Oh my God!
It was such a wonderful sight to see the care, the carefreeness, the fun they were having. So
I can never forget that vision. And like you said, I think it's that age is so innocent. I still remember, once during our time together only, one of the parent came to me, and we were just discussing, about the child. And then before leaving, she says, ma'am, you know what happened yesterday? We were just passing the school in the evening, passing by. And so I told my daughter, see, your school is right there. She says, can we go and meet ma'am? So she says, but ma'am will not be there. She says, no, ma'am said that she always is here only, so I can come and meet her whenever. So
Oh,
that's the
that's so
innocence of that child. And so then the parents said, then I had to tell her, no, no, because the lights are off, so probably ma'am has gone to sleep. So for the children, I think that teachers, especially in the pre-primary and the primary years, I think it's a very, very
I
big impact on.
Yes. So that reminds me of one incident which I feel that, this is where which makes my heart go warm all the time. So there was this particular child who was very hesitant, every time she was called, or it was, she was very timid, and, she used to get very scared. So we started working on her, me and my colleague Prasanna, we started working on her. We engaged with the parent. We used to send extra work for her, which was to her level. And there came a point after a little bit of work with her, there came a point when she used to put her hand up because she wanted to be called, just because of that little exercise of where the parent and the teachers came together to
Yeah. It's so important. It's so
and it still gives me goose pimples when I see her. I used to see her, and she started gaining that confidence to come up, raise her hand, and she wanted us to call her
And
call
I
her name
think
out.
that goes a long way to say that a child feels confident because he knows that there's a teacher behind me who believes in me. That is so important. As a parent,
I guess
as a teacher, I think that's the most important thing for a child, to be confident and go ahead
yes,
and do whatever they want, because they need to feel that the teacher's right there. She believes in me and she's got,
absolutely.
my back.
Yeah. He
That's
worked hard, the parent worked, but it is important for the parent to be involved too,
yes,
Sapna. That's very,
absolutely.
very important. Especially when you see your
I
child struggling in formative years. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks, Deepika. I mean, I really had an amazing time. But before we leave, it's not yet.
Okay.
Do you have a pen and paper around?
Yes, I
Okay.
have.
So what I would like Deepika to do is, see, it's desk doodles, so we cannot let you go without doodling a little bit, right? So get that little Deepika out of, from within, because I always say that the child in you should always be alive all your life. Because if that kid in you
Okay.
is alive, you will always like to have fun, you will always learn, and you're going to, spread joy everywhere. So I want
Okay.
little Deepika coming out, and doodle something from your memory, from your school time. And later
Oh,
on, you can send me a picture, because I'm going to put it up on my podcast artwork, and sign
okay.
your name and put the date on it, and we will engrain it there, right?
Now that you say that, I remember I used to make faces quite a bit.
Let's go with that.
And
Let's go with that.
it's so I used to make faces quite a bit, and I'm going to make that with
Absolutely.
the and it's nothing fancy, but it was something which I just used to keep making with the profile pictures and whatever.
Doodles don't anyways need to be fancy. They're just what is in your mind,
Yes,
it comes out.
yeah.
So while you're
Do you
doing,
want me to make?
I'm going to give you, I'm going to throw a word at you, okay?
Okay,
And you give back a word which, comes to your mind with that. Can we do that?
okay,
Okay?
yeah.
So I say school bus.
Lunch bag.
Awesome. If I say a notebook,
Yes, doodling. I used to do that quite a bit.
awesome. And what about a games class? You had a P.
I used. Yes, it reminds me. I used to love playing. We used to love playing a lot with the, hopscotch. I still remember.
Ah,
We just used to love that time
great.
when it was not structured game time.
Yeah.
Yes,
I know.
yes. Although I used to basketball quite a bit when I was in school. I was in the basketball team. So yeah, that was
So
fun.
that's one thing that I think I came to know today from you, because I know a lot about Deepika Sharma, but the basketballer Deepika Sharma is something that I came to know today. So that's
Yes,
great to
I
have you.
yes, in inter school, I was in fact, I had won quite a bit in shot put throwing and javelin throwing too. So
Awesome.
yeah, but then that was yeah, that was school time.
Oh, good.
Um,
That's what student
yeah.
life is all about. Experimenting, trying to figure out what I really want to do. So that's great. So let's have the doodle there.
Okay, just a minute. Just a minute. I'm just.
No worries. Take your time. With
So this
all
is
the,
just this. This
your
is
skills of
this.
art, Deepika.
But will it show?
Oh, that's nice. So cute.
This is something like, this is something I used to, work around with hairstyles and whatnot. This is the reason I'm making this is something I was obsessed with profile. I mean, I was obsessed with faces at a time.
And it's
So I
come out
used to keep
so
doodling
nice.
eyes.
So just put one
Yeah.
name on it, put the today's date, and we will,
I-
put it on our podcast artwork.
Yes, I will send it to you immediately.
Thank you.
And thank you
So,
so much.
what do you? Let's, I would like to sum it up before Deepika leaves for our viewers.
Okay.
That I think the main thing that came out of our wonderful talk with Deepika Sharma was, I think the highlight was the care and concern that as an educator you need to show towards your children. You need to be
Definitely.
the age that you're teaching. That is very important.
Yes.
And
Patient.
absolutely patience, like she says, yes, patience. And I think if all of us think about incorporating a little bit of music, little bit of stories, little bit of games
Stories.
to our regular
Absolutely.
teaching, we will all together make our education holistic.
Total. So I'm absolutely a believer in what you're doing right now. I think stories are the best way of teaching children and reaching out to children. So,
Thanks so much. And great
congratulations.
having you on the talk, Deepika. It was
Absolutely.
so wonderful remembering those beautiful things from our working together.
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
sure our
Absolutely.
viewers have enjoyed it. So let us know if you
Absolutely.
need anything else. Thank you.
No, thank you so much, and all the best, Sapna.
Thank you.
I'm sure this is going to fly.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Deepika. Bye-bye. See you again.
Bye bye. Take care.